Hey everyone! As you saw in our most recent vlogs, we recently did a weekend trip to DreamMore. We stayed at DreamMore for one night, and then the next day we went to Dollywood. So we want to talk a little bit today about our stay at DreamMore. This was our first time staying there since it opened, and we live close to the area, so it was pretty convenient for us to go. It was always on our wish list of places to try, and this was the perfect opportunity for us to go. The first thing about DreamMore that struck me as, wow, this is a place I really am going to enjoy staying. This is a place where I'm really going to feel comfortable. We pull straight up and they unload your luggage for you. It was instantly, welcome to DreamMore. That was the first thing you heard was, welcome to DreamMore. And it wasn't like grumpy or, oh, I don't want to do this job. It was very much cheerful. It was, we are so glad to have you here. And I was just like, oh, thank you. And I was kind of taken back because I'd never seen that service anywhere other than Disney. And so I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then he's like, hey, I will unload your luggage for you. So now that you've seen the vlog, you'll know that we had a surprise for Sarah. If you haven't, then check it out in the cards above. But we had a surprise for Sarah in our trunk that she hadn't seen yet. He took care of making sure that surprise made it up to the room. And we didn't tell him specifically where to put it, but he put it in a very dominant place where she would see it first thing when she came into the main part of the room. And I was just kind of like taken back that he took care of that little tiny detail for us, even though that technically wasn't something he had to do. The next thing about it was, there was an option to do valet parking. You know, I didn't really care, and I wanted to know where the car was, and I wanted to be able to park it because we were going to be checking out the next morning and then leaving the next afternoon. So I wanted to go ahead and park the car myself, which I did, and I got to park it next to a shady tree. So when we got back to the truck after Dollywood, it was not as hot as it could have been for having a black vehicle in the Smokies on a summer day, or on a summer-ish day. So I parked the car and came back. Well, while I was doing that, because I drove, that's why I did it. So Matt took the girls into the lobby. I bring the car back and I come back in, and like the first thing was the girls were like, hey, try this pink lemonade. They told us to try this pink lemonade, and you know, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And when I tried it, I was like, oh, this is really good. You walk in and the lobby is fantastic. It's open, it's spacious. There's a living room right off to the side where you kind of like instantly feel like you're at home. Right outside the doors, there's rocking chairs. It's like you just walked into somebody's country home is what it felt like to me. We go over to the front desk and there is a screen of a view of like the Smoky Mountains with clouds going across it, and it was like, oh, we're in the Smokies, this is really cool. Check-in was amazing. It was quick, it was easy, they were very courteous. They told us where to go to go to the concierge desk. They told us about hours and things that we needed to know. Told us that, oh, and while you're checking in, your luggage has already been delivered to your room. I'm like, what? So I was just like, wow, that is really awesome. Well, I wanted to do a room tour to show all of you what our room looked like. While I was doing that, Matt was able to take the girls over to a separate part of the lobby where they had coloring stuff set up. They had checkers, they had dominoes, they had games and things for the kids to do while the parents were checking in. And I just was like really taken back by how awesome that was, that there was something fun for them to do instantly when they got there. Because sometimes checking with kids, it can be kind of strenuous, and you know, you've just arrived and they're excited, and I mean, you could look down the stairs and out the window and there was the pool. Then that was one of the reasons why we booked, because we wanted a place with the pool. And instead of like, you know, having to deal with, you know, kids hanging all over us and instantly wanting to go to the pool, it was like, hey, look at all these games we can play over here while mom and dad check in. So that was cool, they got to do that. I go up to the room, the luggage is already there, and he's like, is there anything else I can do for you? Because he had just finished. Is there anything we can do to help your stay? And I'm like, no, thank you so much. And you know, we were pretty settled. We did the room tour, took Sarah up to look at the room, swimsuits and all that. The pool, oh goodness guys, this was the most amazing pool that I've ever been to. I mean, I have a list of them now, but now the DreamMore pool is like right up there at the top with my favorite resort pool that I've ever stayed in. There is a waterfall, and it's like it's not a lazy river like where you sit on a float, but there are jets that kind of like push you along gently. So it's kind of like you're swimming. It's a swimming lazy river, but there's these 3 little mini waterfalls that come over the side. And if you don't want to go over there, there's a wall that divides them with a seat on it, so like you can actually watch like your kids go through. It also had life jackets for Rebecca. Sarah ended up with one at the end of the time because she got tired, but Rebecca is just learning how to swim, so she was able to put a life jacket on and swim with us. The 5-foot section was like way off to the side to where it was definitely a designated area over here. The beach entry was right at the splash pad, which was also super fun. Rebecca had a blast on the splash pad. Also, the pool was heated, which was nice because spring in the Smokies is like you can have summer during the day, but then once those hours start to cool off in the late evening or in the early evening, it can actually get kind of chilly. So there was a couple times I actually got out to either take kids to the potty or do some filming outside of the pool, and I was like chilly, but then when I got back in, I was like, oh, this water's heated. You could definitely tell. We love the pool. The pool was fantastic. If for no other reason, the pool was worth the stay, but there are other reasons to stay there, so let's go over those. So let's go back to the room real quick. We stayed in the Junior DreamMore Resort Suite because it was the biggest suite and the only suite that holds a family of 5. It actually holds up to 6. The first thing when you walked in the room was this little entryway with the little hooks on the wall, the full-length mirror, but then there was the kids' bunk beds. One of the cool features about the bunk beds was it wasn't just like a bunk bed, and there was like a massive amount of space like for Rebecca to sit up in the morning on the bottom bunk, and for her to just sit on the bed and watch TV the night, or on our first night there, or on our night there. There was the fact that the bedding was designed to where like kids couldn't kick it off like really super easy, which sometimes is a problem with kids. Like some people, they probably wouldn't like that as much, but for us, I was like, this is really cool because the bedding is zipped in. Therefore, it's not as gonna be easy for the kids to kick the blankets off and it become a problem at night and them trying to get up and then, you know, and get them off. Anyways, but the bedding was cool about it being zipped in. They still strip the bedding and all that in between rooms, so like it's not anything like unsanitary or anything. The pull-out bed was super soft. I actually sat on it at one point with Madeline. It was actually really soft for a pull-out bed, but she took the whole pull-out bed for herself, which we were fine with. That was one of my favorite things about this room, was the fact that each of the kids had their own bed. And to me, that's a big deal because I want them to be able to enjoy vacation the way they want to. They don't mind sharing beds. The younger 2 did at Kidani and Saratoga Springs. There are times on vacation where I want them to still be comfortable, and there's just sometimes they need their own space on vacation. So like I love the fact that they each had their own bed. The bedding was clean, it was soft. Matt and I slept great on the bed. I thought it was a queen, and I think I said in a review it was a queen. I think somebody actually said that that room is actually a king bed for the main bed in the room. I'm not 100% sure. Our bed is still smaller, so I don't know. It was bigger than ours, but it was super comfortable. I loved that the lamp on Matt's side of the bed had USB ports for the chargers, and like I didn't have to go and hunt for places to plug up the 2 cell phones, the vlog camera battery, the water camera battery. The outlets were right there on the tables, easy to access. The 2 TVs in the room, that was awesome. We ended up actually putting both of them on the same channel, which kind of gave it like a stereo effect because we were all just kind of exhausted, and they had Animal Planet on and we were watching Tanked, and I think we were watching like another one about building animal sanctuaries and places. But it was really cool because the kids' TV could swivel up so that Sarah could still see it from top bunk and Rebecca could still see it from bottom bunk. And then Madeline could watch hers as easily. It was actually easier for us to look at the one over at the bunk bed to watch than it was to watch the one that was angled a little bit more towards the living area. But that was okay because we were just kind of like, oh, which TV do you want? Because we can have both. But the room was amazing. One thing about it that I was kind of confused about was like, they were like, oh, you might get it. The way that it was worded online was, you can request a fridge. But then when we got there, it definitely had a fridge, and the way that room's designed, it would definitely have a fridge in that room because it was like built into a cabinet. So I'm not 100% sure if everybody would get a fridge in a Junior DreamMore Resort Suite or DMR Suite, but we did. And I planned to not have it, but having it was kind of like an extra that was really nice to have. The coffee pot the next morning to make the breakfast worked out perfectly, and then Matt also got his coffee in the morning. Getting up and letting the kids watch Disney XD at a resort other than Disney to get ready in the morning made our morning go so much easier because they were able to watch Disney XD while I was fixing their hair, getting them dressed to go to the park. Oh, one more thing I forgot to mention. We did do the indoor pool. We did it just because we're like, hey, I want to try it. So we did. We didn't know at the time that there actually is an outdoor door from the indoor pool to the outdoor pool, and it's over closer to where the playground and splash pad is. We actually didn't do the playground because once the kids got wet, they were too cold to play on the playground. But I'm thinking for another summer trip, we may do the playground as well. And we're also thinking of doing like more than just one night. It was really awesome to stay there. The park, I mean, we didn't even know about the parks when we booked it until, actually no, right when we went to book it, we didn't know about the parks. Our goal was to find a place in the Smokies for one weekend because Sarah wanted to, for her birthday, she wanted a place to swim and a place to stay overnight. And she wanted to stay the night before Matt's company picnic to Dollywood. So I was just looking online at places. We had a couple of places picked out. Then this opportunity came up for us to stay at DreamMore, and I am so glad we did because the pool met the expectation that she wanted for that. The room was incredible. It was comfortable. It was everything that I would want in a resort stay. A couple people asked, where would you rank it with Disney? I would actually put it somewhere between moderate and deluxe. The only reason I wouldn't give it deluxe is because the Disney deluxe pools had water slides on them. But whereas this one didn't have a water slide, it had the lazy river and 3 waterfalls. It also had a hot tub, but you have to be 16 or older, and I wanted to spend that time with Sarah for this trip, so I did not do like any me time like I sometimes do on trips, like where Matt and I will take turns having kind of like me time or like individual time with the kids, because this trip was a focus on Sarah for her 10th birthday. So I didn't try that out, but it was there. If you see on the resort tour video, it's like on the back of the waterfall from where we were with the waterfall. There's also like places where you can do s'mores and things. Would we stay there again? Yes. Definitely. We actually are already planning on staying there again. Matt's company pays for everybody at his work to go to Dollywood once a year. I am actually looking forward to wanting to go again next year to stay there again. Are we going to be staying again for our rain check tickets? No, because it was kind of like it was a one-time thing for Sarah's birthday this time. It's not really in our budget to go and stay again for the rain check tickets that we have. So probably not. But if it was like in our ability to, then yes, we would. But this is something that I kind of want to plan out to go again next time, because we do want to do the 2-night stay again. That way, if like we had another time like we did this time where it downpours at Dollywood, we can just take the bus over to DreamMore, go and hang out at DreamMore for a while, even if we're just in the room chilling with snacks and watching Disney. Then, you know, at least they're still inside. There's games and stuff to do at DreamMore all the time anyways. We are planning on staying there again. It's not just a yes, we would. It's a, we are actually making plans of staying there again next year and hopefully staying for an entire weekend instead of just one night. Am I still glad we only stay for one night? Yes, because I like to just kind of experiment with places that we go, see if everybody loves it. And the general overall was, does everybody like it?
Yes.
Everybody liked it. They're doing school over in the dining room while I'm filming. Everybody loved it. There was no complaint about the resort at all. So yes, we would definitely stay there again. So that is our review of DreamMore. Did we love it? Yes. Will we stay there again? Yes. Was it fabulous? Yes. Should you go there? Yes.